So today we have a bunch of like kind of release dates and dates of certain things that people are looking for, like Grand Theft Auto, like Metal Gear Solid Delta, and when the next Nintendo Switch for the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is going to happen. That's pretty much what everything that's going to be in today's news, and an opinion piece at the very end on the thoughts of getting games to $100. Unless you've been living under a rock, the Nintendo Switch 2 was announced as an official thing. Even though every single one of us kind of knew it was coming, we knew that it was coming in 2025, we knew that it was delayed in 2024, so everybody was just waiting for it to be announced. Almost every single thing about the Switch was leaked even before it came out. Like, we kind of know exactly what it's going to do, how strong it's going to be, but we finally have some news on what we're going to hear more about the Nintendo Direct. That will showcase the games that are coming to there. And don't be surprised if you see the new Metroid game, don't be surprised if you see a new Donkey Kong, and also don't be surprised if a Pokemon game is there, because one of the things that people have been looking forward to is an HD Pokemon game that doesn't look like complete garbage. The Switch 2 Direct now has a time as well as a date. 6 a.m. PT on Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. That's 9 a.m. ET and 2 p.m. UK time. So they're doing this one a little bit early. Like, that's what they've always done. They've always made their Nintendo Switch Directs like early all the time. That's something that they do. That's something that they always will do. So like, I really don't blame them for doing that. Like, that's something that they've always done. It's not, whatever, it's not a big deal. The Nintendo Direct will also hopefully give us the full Nintendo Switch 2 lineup, as well as a release date, which is expected to be at some point between June and September 2025. Fingers crossed, Nintendo announces the Switch 2 price, which analysis predict will be $400. Yeah, $400. Like, don't be surprised that if it's a little bit more than that, if tariffs start coming up, don't be surprised if they hike it up $50. I think originally the Nintendo Switch was probably gonna come out like a little cheaper, maybe $350, but I don't think that they can kind of get away with it and risk it, especially with the new administration in the United States that more than likely is going to put tariffs on foreign products. So like, it kind of makes sense. You're getting a PlayStation Pro at the palm of your hands, and you can connect it and have PlayStation 4 Pro power on the go. So like, it makes sense. It makes sense that it would cost that much. You're pretty much gonna get the top of the line of what you can get in a mobile like kind of type thing with Nintendo touching it, which is really exciting for me. I'm really excited to see what Pokemon looks on one of these games, because I've been waiting for the longest time for a Pokemon that does not look like complete garbage. I want that open world Pokemon game so badly. I would buy it 3 Nintendo Switches alone just for a good Pokemon game that I can play with my friends. That's all I want. Is that too much to ask? Can a burnt potato bald man ask for anything more than that? Speaking of things that we've been waiting for a while, like Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta Snake Eater has come out. Like, they announced it so long ago that it's weird that they haven't released it yet, but I'm guessing that they were waiting for the PlayStation 5 Pro and to also put it on the Nintendo Switch, which is more than likely going to sell like crazy, and especially when they know that you can play a remake of Metal Gear Solid 3. So it only makes sense that they were incentivized to wait. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, the remake of the original Metal Gear Solid 3, will release on August 28th, 2025, according to what appears to be a PlayStation Store leak. Konami remake of the PlayStation 2 stealth action title has finally updated from a obvious defunct 2024 release window. Seemingly out of nowhere, with even a new trailer having leaked via the PlayStation app version of the store, an Ape Escape collaboration has also been teased, which has followed by message that reads "and more," which seemingly alludes to further crossovers coming in the game. So if you haven't played the original Metal Gear Solid 3, they had a lot of crossovers, one of them being with Snake catching Ape Escape games, and Ape Escape like a mini. They've had like a Tony Cross. They've had like a Tony Hawk like kind of feel to Metal Gear Solid 2 with their little mini game that they had. So like, it makes sense that they would do this. I'm so glad that it even has a release date, because I've been waiting for I was hoping it was gonna be next month. I'm not gonna lie. I was hoping it was next month, but the fact that I have to wait all the way to August is a little disappointing. I'm glad that we finally finalized the release date and can look forward to binging that game in the near future. One of the things that I've never liked about racing games is there's not very much innovation when it comes to it. But like this game, I wasn't even gonna talk about this game because it's not really a story. This game looks really fun, and it looks like it's taking kind of a new approach to a racing game. Speed Demons 2 announced for the PC, but what if it was like Burnout, but from the side? Radiant Games has announced Speed Demons 2, the side-scrolling highway racer with a visual aesthetic, not to mention high-speed gameplay that might remind you a bit of the beloved racing series Burnout. It is in development for PC after the original was a mobile game, and the sequel is due out later this year. The developer says the controllers are focused on movement and not steering. You'll still have gas, brake, and turbo or ability buttons, but you're moved to the analog stick or the mouse up and down to control your vehicle direction. The team adds, it sounds unusual, but the immediate intuitiveness once you start playing. Speed Demons 2 has 10 game modes, including a varied Burnout Road Rage mode, sounding Pursuit, Takedown, and Rampage, which all task you with destroying other cars in a certain amount of time. Another is Scrapeless, which harkens back to Burnout's burning lap by challenging you with getting to the finish line with little damage to your car as possible, which is extremely hard to do. But yeah, I'm really wanting to like racing games again, because when I was a kid, racing games were really fun. I've never really been into like the Turismo type of games. I think they're a little boring. That's just me. I understand there's a lot of car enthusiasts out there that like those games, but I've never really liked it. I was more of a Demolition Derby kind of guy. I was always kind of a Mario Kart kind of guy. I liked those kind of sims, which isn't a sim at all. It kind of has it's an arcade game, but still, I'm glad that a racing game is trying something new and kind of different and intuitive. That is just a fun arcade game. We're now for our main story, and it's not really like a main story, but it is a story, but half of it's story and the other half is opinion. GTA 6 release date is still set for fall 2025. Take-Two CEO insists we feel really good about it. Reporting is third quarter ending December 31st, 2024 financial results. The Rockstar owner listed GTA 6 for the fall 2025 on the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S. It means that for now, at least GTA 6 is on track for its previous announced release window and has not been delayed. Speaking to IGN ahead of the release of its financial report, Take-Two CEO said that while there's always a risk of slippage, the company feels really good about it. Fall 2025. Look, there's always a risk of slippage, and I think as soon as you say the words like absolutely, you jinx things. The CEO responded when IGN asked how confident he was that Rockstar will hit the fall 2025 for GTA 6. So we feel really good about it. Look, I think the game is eagerly anticipated both internally and externally, he said. We know that Rockstar seeks perfection. I never claim success before it occurs. I'm fond of saying arrogance is the enemy of continued success. So we're all running scared and looking over our shoulders, and we know that the competition is not asleep. Our whole organization is super excited. This is one thing that I like about Rockstar that I'll never get tired of. I love the fact that Rockstar likes making video games. They like making open world games. They like making detailed open world games. And not only that, but they like making fun open world games. Like what they did with GTA Online, whatever your opinion is about it, whatever you think about it, that it's chaotic, that it's not fun to play, like for a lot of people, that game is really fun. Like, and I get why people spend so much money on it, because it gives them a lot of fun, it gives them a lot of freedom. And they made this whole economy within the game, which is really, really cool. I love Rockstar and its games, which brings me to something that people have been saying about Rockstar and hoping that they do. They're hoping that the next GTA 6 is $100 at the very least, which has me really concerned for the future of games. Because look, does a studio like Rockstar Games absolutely probably deserve the $100 for the next game that's coming out? Absolutely. Like, do they deserve it? Yes. Should they charge that much? Absolutely not, because it will set the precedent that everything that is released from now on is justified from being $100. But the problem with a lot of like people inside the industry, like video game companies who want to raise the price to $100, unlike Rockstar Games, they do not achieve the same perfection that Rockstar Games makes. And to be fair, very few studios are given that freedom, and very few games are also like just that good. Like not everybody's gonna have a $1 billion budget. Not everybody's gonna have the freedoms that they get when it comes to their games. So why would you want us to charge or to pay $100 for a game that you know is nothing like Grand Theft Auto, that you know is not going to be as perfect and as polished as the game? Like, it is insane that I have to say this, but most AAA games nowadays release broken. And like, that's not an exaggeration. Most AAA games that we buy release broken. There's always has to be a patch to where, oh yeah, the frames are stuttering, like, but we're gonna patch that in, or like, yeah, the character falls through the game, but we're working on a patch. Like, it's been a thing since the end of last generation to the beginning of this one and to the middle of this generation, to the fact that video games are not well made as they used to. I'm sorry, but they're not. And a lot of the times it's because everybody's trying to follow the same thing that everybody else is doing. Everybody wants to make a Rockstar game, everybody wants to make a Naughty Dog game, everybody wants to make a game that sells and they make a lot of money. The problem is that most video games aren't meant to be that. That's not the passion that you make. The reason Rockstar is so good at making Rockstar games is because they're open world story games that at the end of the day make you feel a certain way at the very end. Like for me with Red Dead Redemption 2, I had some daddy issues at the very end of that game just because of how impactful that story is. And for a lot of people, that's what their studio wants them to make. Because of the fact that Red Dead Redemption 2 on its own sold 70 million copies, which is insane. It's one of the best-selling games of all time. Now, can every studio make that type of game that Rockstar is trying to make? Absolutely not. And that's why you don't deserve my $100. That's why that most studios that are out there don't deserve $100 games. Like, there's some indie games that, or developers that I would give $100 before I would give $100 to most AAA games. And that's sad to say. And call me a fanboy. PlayStation is one of those people. If I see good reviews about it, I know that the game's gonna live up to those reviews, and it's not gonna be a buggy, broken game. I know when Ken Levine's video game comes out, knock on wood, Ken Levine, that when his games come out, that they're gonna be really good games. There's very few people that I can say that about. Lawrence Studios, who else? The Santa Monica Games, which is another PlayStation gaming company. At the end of the day, not every game company deserves $100 games on prices. And I see a lot of these commentators who give free games and they're like, yeah, $100 games are the games should totally cost that. And it's like, bro, you get free games. You get free games and free consoles. Like, please spare me when it comes to that kind of thing. Yeah, these games, they like give you 40 hours of fun. Of course, they deserve $100 games. And it's like, bro, please. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think that these games should cost $100? Do you think that a lot of games are worth $100? Let me know what you think below. And remember, you're pretty good. So I shaved my head, like, cause it was hot. Like, I did a Pedro, and yeah, I usually do this every year. I shave my head at least like once a year. Like, yeah. So if you're wondering why I'm bald, that's why. I was just hot. It was really hot. I couldn't sleep last night, so I just shaved my head. Put a bald guy in the comment if you got this far. Bye. Also, there really wasn't that much news today. A lot of the news that you're gonna want to hear is gonna come up next week. There is a rumored PlayStation event going on next week, so we'll see what happens. I'm probably gonna be really busy next week, which yeah, I'm looking forward to that PlayStation event. It's rumored that Death Stranding is gonna be there. It's rumored that Sony Santa Monica's the game's gonna be there with more gameplay. It's rumored that a bunch of games are gonna be there. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's a showcase and not like a direct. But we'll see. I'm not gonna get my hopes up. Every time I get my hopes up for one of these events, I get let down. So I'm just gonna keep my head down, keep my bald ass head down, and hope for the best.